Good morning. Welcome to day 3 of Dreamforce. My name is Taylor Kingsbury. I'm a senior application developer at Salient Consulting. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I have 6 certifications. The most recent is Platform Developer 2. I got it this year. But before that, I was a math teacher. I taught calculus at Drexel University for 7 years. 5 years ago, I made the switch to working with Salesforce, and I've been doing that ever since. And my mantra is always that you don't need a computer science degree in order to be a developer, because I don't have one. This is custom record forms in a Flash with the Lightning Data Service. And I work for Salient Consulting. We are a consulting company. We focus on Apex, Lightning, Visualforce. We have offices in Philadelphia, Chicago, Houston, and right here in San Francisco. So please make your purchasing decisions based on what's currently available on the platform. And let's get started. So there is a new base Lightning component called Lightning Record Form. It's been available since summer 18. And this session really is all about just this one component and how I found a few interesting ways to use it. So first of all, what does it do? Well, in general, it basically displays a group of fields for a single record. So I have one record, and I want to display a group of fields. So I can use my Lightning Record Form on one record, and I can pick what fields I want to display to the screen, and I can either just view them on the screen or I can edit those fields. How many people here have written a Visualforce page before? Okay, quite a few of you. So you guys are familiar with the standard controller, right? The standard controller gave you the ability to do CRUD operations on one record without writing any Apex, right? You should think of Lightning Record Form as the standard controller, but for Lightning. Okay, it does almost exactly the same thing. There are 2 previous components that are very similar to Lightning Record Form. That's the Lightning Edit Form, Record Edit Form, and Record View Form. And basically, Record Form is just a combination of the 2, and you can switch between View and Edit using the mode. And we'll talk about mode in a second. But anyway, it gives you access to either the full page layout, that's every field on the current page, or maybe you want just the fields on the compact layout, so that's those fields that you see at the top of the screen on a record. And this is what I'm going to be doing mostly, you can specify which fields you want in a string array. So I'm going to have an array with a list with a bunch of strings, and I'm going to say these are the fields I want to display to the screen. So all my examples are going to be basically showing you a list of fields that we write out in a comma-separated list. All right, so what are the benefits of using Lightning Record Form? Why use this over anything else? The big one is no Apex. You don't have to write any Apex to use Lightning Record Form. So in the past, we've used those Aura-enabled classes, right? You have your Aura-enabled attribute, and we go to the server, and we get our data, and then we bring it back. You don't have to do any of that with Lightning Record Form, because that's all taken care of for you. So what does that give you? Well, it makes sure that you don't have to use a SQL statement, or DML. So you have a limit to how many of those you can use, right? You won't have to use those. And what we found in some of our projects is we were writing a lot of Apex classes, and they all had just one line. They were just one function and one line, right? So we ended up with all these separate classes, and they all just had like one SQL statement in them, and that was it. And then everyone knows we have to write test classes for those too, because it's Apex. You have to write a test class for your one-line class. Well, that can bloat some of your Apex classes, right? You're going to have to deploy a lot of classes if you do that. So we're trying to eliminate the amount of Apex that we have to write. But even more important, and this is kind of new, you won't have to write any JavaScript either. Everything that you write is going to be in the component itself. So no JavaScript and no Apex. So everything we're going to see is just component only code. All right, so there are 3 modes. Edit mode. Edit mode is misleading because you can create things in edit mode. You can create a new record if you're in edit mode, or you can edit the fields. You can also edit fields when you're in view mode. So view mode, you can't create a new record, but you can edit an existing record. Read-only mode means you cannot edit the existing record. So I thought of a few examples of how we can use this. A while ago, we had a client who said to us that they have a person on their sales team who hates using Salesforce. They don't want to use it at all. They're not very tech savvy. They just want to write their leads in one place and be done with it. So if you need a form that can quickly create an account with just 4 fields, and just go to one page and create an account with just 4 fields on it, the best way to do that would be to create a new tab in the Sales Console and place your fields into a record form, and you'll have to just have those 4 fields on the screen. That's it. And then you'll be able to hit save, and it'll create a new record. So the next one I thought was, actually, has anyone looked at the mini hacks over by the Quick Start? Have you picked these up? I didn't know this, but I actually solved one of the mini hacks in my presentation. So this one is, what if we want to have a contact record, but be able to edit the account fields from the contact record itself? So I'm going to edit the related record, the parent record, but I won't leave the contact. So I used to be a professor, but now I'm the guy who is giving away the answers because I stole the answer key. So if you're at this session, you'll learn how to do exactly this one, the green one. And finally, this came up very recently. One of our clients wanted a printable form. So they have one record, and they want to be able to print out the data in that record as a PDF. So we used to be able to do this in Visualforce with the render as PDF, but there's no equivalent of that in Lightning yet. So is there a way we can take the fields on a record and open a new tab and then print those fields using some LDS, Lightning Design System, and see if we can print out a nice form for someone to sign off on? So I want to look at the first example, Quick Create. There's a lot of markup here. The most important one is the interface. The force has record ID. That gives you the ID of the record that you're currently on. You don't have to query for it. If you use force has record ID, then you have that ID available to you. So then we have our Lightning record form. And notice I have a list of 4 fields that I'm going to put on the screen. I just write down the field names that I want, and I'm going to send that into the Lightning record form, and it's going to display those 4 fields for me. I'm in edit mode, which means I can create new records, or I can edit an existing record. So when we look at this, we have our 4 fields, but what else do we have? We have a cancel and save button. Notice that I didn't actually ever at any point write any markup for a cancel or save button, right? There's no markup of that. If you're in edit mode, you get for free a cancel and save button. This was not true in Visualforce, right? You had to actually implement the cancel and save button. Maybe you didn't have to write any Apex, but you still had to put it in the markup. Here, that's taken for you. They just assume that you're going to need cancel and save, right? So here's the answer key to the mini hack. We're on a contact record and we want to edit account fields. Notice I have this force record data component. What is that doing? Well, since I'm on a contact, I have the contact ID. And then the force record data component is gathering up all the fields on the contact for me. So I have the ID, I'm placing the ID into the force record data component, and that's giving me back all the fields on the contact record. Then, what does that give me? Well, it gives me the contact.account.id field. So I'm going to send in the ID of the parent record into the Lightning record form. So I'm on the contact page, but I'm sending in the account ID, right? So that's going to give me those same 4 fields, but I'm going to be able to display that on my contact page, right? If you look over here, I'm on a contact, but I'm able to edit my account fields directly from the contact. Has anyone ever written a formula just so they could put it in a report? Yeah? What ends up happening is you end up with a lot of fields, right? And they're all just used for one thing. I could have gotten these fields here from a formula, but I couldn't have edited them from this page with a formula. Plus, now I don't have to create the formula fields, right? I'm just using my Lightning component to display the fields. So I don't have to create a bunch of formula fields. And we've had clients who've come to us and say, we've created 500 custom fields, and we need to create more fields, and we can't, because we've hit the limit on how many fields we can create. We don't want to create too many fields. This is one way to avoid doing that, right? Because we can just send the account ID in, and then we get whatever parent fields we want to be able to edit on the child record. And lastly, I wanted to show a printable form. This one I had to cheat because I wasn't able to figure out how to use Lightning record form for the purposes that I wanted for this. All I'm trying to do is I do need to use record view form because I want to display data to the screen. And the reason I wasn't able to use Lightning record form is because I couldn't put that component into an app and have it work. If anyone knows how to do that, please let me know. But I did use Lightning record view form. I have some markup. I'm going to gloss over that for a minute. But basically what I'm trying to do is create a form that I can print out the data. So the way to do that is to put it in a Lightning application. We need to create a Lightning application. A lot of people just use this for testing, but I found that this was the one way that I could open up a new tab and print out the data to the screen. So I use a Lightning application. I pass in my component. I'm passing in account view form into the application along with the account ID. And then I created a URL button. So I have a URL button on account, and that's passing in the URL for the Lightning app with the account ID passed in. And what that does is it opens a new tab, and it allows me to see my list of fields without all the sales app stuff, right? You don't see the account tab, the contact tab, all that. So if I need to print out something, what I can do next is just right-click on this page and go to print as and save as a PDF. So it's a bit of a workaround. It's not quite as good as render as PDF from Visualforce, but it gets the job done. And now I have a PDF of my data. So I want to show some of this. Show some of this off. Boy, Macs are confusing. Sorry, the X is on the wrong side. All right. So here's my account create form. So I'm just filling in these fields. I'm going to create a new account. I'm going to make it All right, so I created a new account. Notice that now I'm in edit mode because I've already created the account, and now I can change it if I want on this screen. But the important thing is it did create a new account over here. Here's my Dreamforce account. I want to look at a specific contact next. So, so on my details tab. Sorry. On my details tab, I have my account name, and if I change it, that should, so I've changed the name of the account. I didn't refresh or anything, but it did change the name of the account for all of Salesforce, right? I'm editing the account from the contact page. That changed the account name automatically on the contact page. So I didn't have to refresh to make that happen. That's because these components are speaking to each other. And the last thing I wanted to show off was if I have a specific account, I can create a button called Print, and this is going to open up a new tab. And so I kind of went easy on the Lightning design system, but you can see that I can open up a new tab for my Lightning component and display all the fields I want. If I wanted to print it out, I would just right-click and save as PDF. Okay, so some good additional resources are this trailhead, Build Flexible Apps with Lightning Components. It's the only one I was able to find that used Lightning record form. It does give an example of sending in the parent ID into the form. You should also check out the component library. I also put up a GitHub link with all the code samples that I used today. So check out that GitHub link. And I will also be posting these slides to the chatter feed for the session. I appreciate if you provide feedback for the session as well. Please check out the developer keynote. That's today at 1. Thanks a lot. Are there any questions? Thank you. Yeah.
So we have a lot of forms where there are text areas and where the form is long to begin with, and then you have users, like you said, that don't text anything, but have a gateway, come back, and lost everything. Session times out. So autosave in any kind of Lightning.
Autosave. I don't know.
I want my Google Doc back. It never does this.
I'll have to look it up. I don't know the answer. Thank you.